Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley. I'm Reverend Marcus Liefert, and I'm so glad to be with you on this beautiful June morning. Happy June, happy Pride. Welcome one and all. If you're visiting with us for the first time, we want to offer you a special welcome. If you have questions about what's happening in the life of our community or want to know more about our congregation, folks at the welcome table in the atrium would be glad to answer your questions. No matter who you are or how you make a living, no matter whom you love or how you experience the sacred, we hope that you'll feel welcome among us here. Everyone's invited to make your way all the way across the atrium into the social hall after the service for a lunch that's provided each week. Stay for food and conversation if you can. Today there's some special events happening too. You'll hear about them a little later on. We are coming up on the end of our arc of today is the last day in this arc celebrating beauty as a moral organizing principle. And we're going to be celebrating today this ritual of beauty that has been handed down now for 101 years among Unitarians, the flower communion. So I'll tell you more about that ritual and Norbert Čapek, who started it, a little later as well. If there's anything on your heart this morning, as always, that you'd like shared, lifted up during our service, you can write it in the memory book on the table at the back of the sanctuary, or simply light a candle for a silent memory or prayer. Once more, welcome. Let's rise in body or in spirit and sing our opening hymn, The Sweet June Days.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jason, and I'll be your worship associate today. And as we light our chalice to begin our service, we remind ourselves that our church occupies land in Huchian, the unceded territory of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people. May we have the humility and courage to do our part to restore what has been broken, and the wisdom to live in a new solidarity with indigenous communities and the earth. Today, as we celebrate Flower Communion, a tradition which we'll learn more about, which was established by Norbert Čapek after World War II in Čapek's home city of Prague. And in honor of that, I'd like to open up with these words by one of Prague's most famous authors, Franz Kafka. Youth is happy because it has the ability to see beauty. Anyone who keeps the ability to see beauty never grows old. Would you join me in saying our covenant? Love guides this church. The quest for truth and justice is its common purpose. To give thanks, listen deeply, speak with care, honor our differences, and seek and grant forgiveness. We covenant with one another. If you have brought flowers today and have not brought them down, feel free to come down while we listen to some music and join the rest of the flowers up here. Yeah.
Got a story to share, and I'd love for anyone who wants to come on up to hear it, come join me up here on the chancel. You can come all the way up because these flowers are taking up some space today, huh? Did any of you bring a flower today?
Yeah.
Not yet. This is your first time. You did, Em?
Yeah.
Thanks. Come on up. Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, it's good. So I wanted to read you a poem about flowers. This is, let's see, how do I talk to you? How about down here? So, do you know Shel Silverstein, any of you? Yeah? Shel Silverstein is one of my favorite poets, and he wrote this poem about flowers. He called it Forgotten Language. He said, "Once I spoke the language of the flowers. Once I understood each word the caterpillar said. Once I smiled in secret at the gossip of the starlings and shared a conversation with the horsefly in my bed. Once I heard and answered all the questions of the crickets and joined the crying of each falling, dying flake of snow. Once I spoke the language of the flowers. How did it go? How did it go?" Do any of you speak the language of the flowers? No? Have any of you ever listen. Any of you speak the language of the flowers? Are you still free? Oh, a few of you still remember. This is good. Okay. Have you ever gone really close and looked up at a flower like it was the only thing you could see? Yeah, you've done that. You can do it right now if you want. Yeah, there's a lot of flowers right here. How about a caterpillar? Have you ever tried to hear what a caterpillar was saying to you? They go munch, 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 Stephanie Ann says. Well, they might have more to say than just that, I think. So I want to tell you a story about someone who kept trying to remember the language of the flowers. He was a minister. His name was Norbert Chopik, and he was a minister who lived a long time ago in a city very far away in Prague, which is in Europe across the Atlantic Ocean, in a country that was then called Czechoslovakia. And so Norbert Chopik was the minister of a big Unitarian church there. Thousands of people would come every Sunday to his church. And the thing that was happening all around in Prague and really all around Europe around him when he was being a minister in the 1920s was people were starting to have this idea, well, people were really getting anxious about this idea that what would make them safe and would make for a strong country is if everybody was all the same. Have you ever heard people talk about ideas like that? Anybody? Probably not, you Bay Area children. Any of you heard ideas like that talked about? Yeah, so there was this idea going around, what makes a country strong is everybody's going to be exactly the same. And Norbert Chopik thought, no, that's not a good idea. No, what makes us strong is that we're all different. And he was thinking about this, taking his walks along the hillsides of Prague, around Prague in Czechoslovakia, and he would see the wildflowers growing all around on the hills. And he thought, that's it, this is the perfect image for what makes community strong. Our community is like a community of wildflowers. They all have different shapes and colors. Some are really small and some are really big. Some have pointy ends like those birds of paradise right there. Or some have really soft petals. Some have really strong scent like some of these roses. Some don't have any scent at all. There's deep reds and bright yellows and purples and pinks, all these different colors, white with no other color at all. It's what makes them most beautiful is all their differences. And so he said, here's what we're going to do at church. Everybody's going to bring a flower that represents you and the gifts that you bring to our community. And everyone's gifts are going to be different. And then at the end of the service, everyone's going to take one of those flowers away that's different than the one you brought, because we need each other and we need different gifts than our own in order to have a strong community. This was the flower communion. The sad part of the story is this. Some people thought that idea was so dangerous. They were so scared and threatened by that idea that they decided that Norbert Chopik should not be allowed to preach it and should not even be allowed to live. And so he was killed for having that idea. So even though sometimes it can feel like, well, obviously we're all different, and it helps that we're all different to build a strong community, that idea is still a radical and dangerous one sometimes in our world. So I know you all have a special project today. We're going to rise in body or spirit, and we're going to sing you out, and then you'll come on back so that everybody can take a flower when we finish our flower communion today. We're going to Sing and Rejoice. Sing and rejoice, let all things living now sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, let all things living now sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, let all things living now sing and rejoice.
Sing and rejoice, let all
I want to welcome up to our chancel our co-chairs of our membership committee, Lonnie Mosley and Victoria Bowen. Would you come on forward? And would all of the new members who we are welcoming today come on up to the chancel? I'm going to read your names as you come up. Oh, no, you're going to... Okay. I'm not going to read your names as you come up. Come on up.
We'll read your names as you get a rose.
Oh, wonderful. These are new members who have joined since our last ingathering back in the fall, or those who joined before who couldn't make it that day. Welcome, welcome. So glad you are here. You know by now the logistics of joining our congregation are not challenging. You've signed the membership book, you've made commitments of your time and treasure and talent to the furtherance of our congregation's mission. You have read aloud the covenant that we share, and yet the deeper meaning of membership is that it offers something unique to offer your ideas and ideals to this community as you join your lives together with ours. Just as we hope that your lives are enriched and changed by your membership here, we hope that you will transform us and this place by sharing with us your creativity, your vitality, your doubts, and your discoveries. May you challenge us with your honest thinking, prick and prod our conscience with your questions, and stir our hopes with your dreams.
Beautiful, thank you. Alan Hoban. Francie Nursky. Marsha Lanier. Dave Belden. Russ Bloom. Harold Dean James. Judy Barron and Ben Barron. Francie Liefert. Janet Robinson. Bill Burmester.
We have Maggie here too,
Maggie Robinson. We will now welcome our new members into the next slide, please. Everybody ready? We warmly welcome you into membership. We are glad you have joined us. We know you with your ideas, energies, resources, and commitment will keep this church a vital, growing community. May we renew today our covenant to dwell in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Welcome. And now, new members, you can read together. We enter
into the membership of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley. We bring to the community our strengths, our limits, our desires. We ask for your love and encouragement as we make our places among you. We are glad to be here.
and all together, new members and congregation. We commit
ourselves to honesty in our speaking, care in our relating, peace in our meeting, courtesy in our conflict, courage in our speech, integrity in our action. May we be true to ourselves, true to each other, and true to our vision of what we are becoming. So be it.
people holding the flowers that are red roses.
Thank you all. We know our bouquet will be enriched by the colors you bring. I invite you to take a deeper breath. Settle more deeply into your place. Feel your connection down to this good earth, your roots digging deep into the soil, drawing up the nutrients you need this day. He chose the flower, Reverend Maya Chapek, Norbert's wife, would tell us. Remembering her martyred husband, he chose the flower because, unlike the cross or the chalice or so many other holy symbols, no war had ever been waged in its name. No army's banner has borne a bouquet of bright blossoms to lead it into battle. It's not that a garden will stop a tank, or that a flower crown could keep any man from trying to appoint himself ruler of all. No row of tulips or patch of daffodils, no matter how orderly arranged, will protect the rule of law. Not even the reddest rose can do anything to make up for the ravaged earth turned crimson from the relentless assault of the worst our species has to offer. But God, holy mystery that shows up as we face all that is harsh and violent, that is with us in our fear and our anger and our grief, that shows up in life's unyielding commitment to grow and become and bloom. Call to us as golden sunflowers. Remind us to face our bright faces into the radiant light of the sun. Call to us in the deep purple cones of buddleia, and let us offer nectar to whatever butterfly beauty is passing through. Awaken in us the mystery of Nigella. Cover us in misty gray-green spray so we can sometimes hide our faces from the world and know even then we are beautiful. Give us the delicious scent of the sweet pea, that we might help lure our kind into a more beautiful way of living. May it be so, and amen. Each week in this community of care and witness, we hold one another through the seasons of our lives, lift up those joys and sorrows, griefs and gratitudes among us. Today, someone is thinking of Grandma healing after surgery. And with Brother James, may the light you gave in this life continue to shine on those you loved for many years to come. And with Mars, feeling gratitude for this community that held me as a young queer kid. Susan asks for continued healing for my husband, Marshall, following back surgery. And Jerry shares Tomei needs all our prayers as she struggles with blood cancer. And someone lifts up the children and mothers of Gaza and all lands suffering under the cruel barbarity of war. May we know that whatever we bring in our hearts here today is held in the loving embrace of this gathered community, and by a deeper love, a nameless love that knows no bounds, that cannot and will not let us go. May it be so, and amen. Let's sing together, Spirit of Life. Another poem from my colleague Thomas Rhodes. We come in a variety of colors, shapes, and sizes. Some of us grow in bunches, some of us grow alone. Some of us are cupped inward, and some of us spread ourselves wide. Some of us are old and dried and tougher than we appear. Some of us are still in bud. Some of us grow low to the ground, and some of us stretch toward the sun. Some of us feel like weeds sometimes. Some of us carry seeds sometimes. Some of us are prickly sometimes. Some of us smell. And all of us are beautiful. What a bouquet of people we are. You know, you're really weird. Yes, you do. Some of you know. You are weird. Just for showing up here on a Sunday morning these days, that is a really weird thing to do. Or sitting at home watching this. What a bizarre idea. And then, you know, you ooze and you creak and you make other strange noises. I know you do. And you smell funny. And you do strange things. Probably there's a few strange things you do that you're not sure anybody else in the whole world does. You are weird. And isn't that great? But man, how much time we spend trying to fit in. How much effort to belong. I remember I took the Minnesota multiphasic personality inventory once. Anybody taken the Minnesota or administered the Minnesota, the MMPPI? This is one of the gold standards of psychological testing. It's one of the tests that all Unitarian Universalist ministers, clergy of many traditions, take as part of a career assessment in order to be credentialed. And when I took it, you answer hundreds of questions, and then you get a little chart, the graph that shows your results in picture form. And mine, the psychologist working with me explained, was almost unusable because of the socially acceptable V. The chart had shown a V shape, and she called this the socially acceptable V. I had tried really hard throughout those questions to be socially acceptable. I was 22 years old, so I'd be very curious what would happen now. But I think a lot of us work at that project of fitting in and belonging. It's so core to being human, to feeling safe, to being a mammal, right? And yet, in the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory, to be normal is to be like the study group that was originally drafted to base the test on, which were a group of about 200, I think, young, white, married men and women in Minnesota in the 1930s and 40s. Boy, we really need to stop trying to be like the young, white Minnesotans of the 1930s and 40s, don't we? So that was Chopik's idea, that instead of all trying to belong by conforming, that we would celebrate our diversity, that we would say, every which way that you are weird is welcome here, and a community that need not think alike to love alike, that can open itself wide to the weirdness of humankind. That's the kind of community our world needs. That's the kind of community human beings need to grow strong and thrive in. There were people from all sorts of religious backgrounds coming to his church in Prague, and including many Jews. And so when the Nazis invaded Prague in 1938, they did find this church, this Unitarian church, led by this radical, free-loving minister, to be a threat to their project. He was arrested and sent to Dachau. And in 1942, they killed him after a trial in which the Nazi records show he was found to be too dangerous. His ideas, literally, this was the quote, his ideas of the worth and beauty of every human life were too dangerous to be allowed to live. His wife Maya had come to the United States just before the war started, planning to come back, and couldn't, of course. And so, not knowing her husband's fate, she still, here in the United States, spread that ritual of flower communion among us, and it spread like wildflowers. And all around, for over 100 years now, we Unitarians celebrate this ritual to affirm the core of our theology, the inherent worthiness and beauty of every life, that community, our interrelatedness, thrives on our diversity. Audre Lorde maybe said it best when she said, "It's not our differences that divide us. It's our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences. It's not our differences that divide us. It's our inability to recognize and accept and celebrate those differences. And I know that sounds nice, but celebrating those differences when you're with somebody who's a little prickly or smells, that's the practice. That's what we've said we're going to do. That's what we say in our covenant. It's what we said to the new members who joined today. It's what we say as we gather our flowers together in this communion of beauty. When I was growing up in my two-mom family, the lie that we told, the lie that our whole community told, and it was told for maybe a good reason, for a political reason, was we were just like everyone else. Our family was normal. And yeah, we're just like everyone else in that we're weird. But the truth is, whether it's your queerness or your ancestry, whether it's the way your brain works or how many fingers you have, whether it's the abilities your senses give you or the particularities of the soil you come from, none of us are just like everyone else. None of us belong in that way. And in fact, it's belonging in that way that casts the deep shadow that leads to things like what happened in the 1930s and 40s in Europe. We know something about a better way. We're not like everyone else, and that's a good thing. It takes all kinds. And these relationships that we build here in covenant, relationships of intimacy and trust across difference, that's one of the ways that we resist fascism and authoritarianism today and in the years to come. This is the blessing that Norbert Chopik would say over the flowers. I'm going to read his words, and then some music will play, and I invite you to come down. Maybe let's try coming down the center aisle and returning to the seats on the sides, unless you're really different today and need to go upstream. But that'll help us have a little bit of order. We'll come down, take a flower, not one that you brought, as a symbol that not only are you weird and different, but you belong to a community where someone different than you lends you their beauty too. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. Amen, and may it be so. A flower communion.
Viva le courant,
would bring you a flower, if that would make it possible for you to participate, raise a hand, and otherwise raise up that flower that you have. Look around you at these flowers, at these people. Someone in the eye and say, thanks for being the weird self that is you. Thanks for being so weird. It is good to be in a community of such weirdos. Amen, and blessed be. There will be, thanks to Ann Harlow, vases in the social hall after if you'd like to save your flower in water until you're ready to go home. But hold on to it safe for now as we conclude our service.
We now invite you into the spiritual practice of generosity. Instead of passing the plate, you can give electronically by scanning the QR code on the back of your badge, or you can put cash or check donation into donation envelope that you'll find in the back of the pew in front of you. Write your name on it and mark offering plate or pledge, and then you'll put it in the donation box beside the fountain in the atrium. Each week, half the offering plate is shared with a local nonprofit through our Good Neighbor organization, recommended by our wonderful Social Justice Council. Thank you so much for practicing generosity with UUCB and with our good neighbors. Offerings of any amount are greatly appreciated. The Good Neighbor for this month is Richmond Emergency Food Pantry, which has been providing emergency food packages to individuals since 1971. And we're honored to have today with us Susie Stanley. And Susie has been a board member of the Richmond Emergency Fund Food Pantry for 10 years and also volunteers registering and certifying clients. You're welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much for selecting REFP, as we call ourselves, or the Pantry as one of your Good Neighbor organizations. We have appreciated the support of this congregation and individuals within this congregation for many, many years. So it's nice to be here in person today. We serve low-income families and individuals of West Contra Costa County, and we do that in coordination or through the partnership with the Contra Costa and Solana County Food Bank. The food bank provides us with free and low-cost food staples, and then we use contributions that come from individuals and organizations to buy the rest of our food. The only things we pay for, besides for food, are rent, insurance, maintenance, and there's one other thing. No, we have no paid staff. We are completely volunteer. We hear that the national economy is strong, but it surely is not strong for our clients. The high cost of rent or mortgage, if people are able to have a house, PG&E. You know how much PG&E has gone up in the last few months? Gasoline. All of these things hit the low-income population harder than they hit those of us who feel more comfortable in our income. As you heard, we started in 1971. We were an outgrowth of the Greater Richmond Interfaith Program, which is now known as GRIP. But then in 1986, we became our own official nonprofit. So we're open 2 days a week. Clients can come once a month. we provide them with a large quantity of food, but they can only come once a month. So hopefully that food will help them stretch out their monthly budget. Each day we're open, our numbers continue to grow. We average 10 to 20 new clients each day we're open, and we're open 8 or 9 days a month. Just this last April, we served 1,300 households, which made 4,400 individuals. A year ago, that number was only 3,200, so you can see that we're growing. We have a core of about 60 volunteers that make this happen. In addition to being there on Tuesdays and Fridays to help pass out the food and register clients and take care of logistical things, volunteers go out into the community to the grocery stores that participate in the grocery recovery program in their own cars and bring back this food and help distribute it. So there's a lot going on. Thank you for helping our pantry to alleviate the problems of our food insecure neighbors. Your monetary and moral support are valuable, and our board of directors is grateful. We are currently seeking new board members. We meet once a month for an hour and a half, usually on Zoom, and there's no financial obligation for board members. If anybody's interested or knows someone who might be interested, please let me know. You can visit our website, which is refp.org, to donate or to gather more information. Thank you very much. I appreciate being here. And an interesting side note, I grew up in the Unitarian Church of Portland, First Unitarian Church of Portland, and belonged to that church for 25 years until I moved to Berkeley, and thereafter I became a Quaker. I'm a member of Berkeley Friends meeting, and our values and commitment to social justice align perfectly with yours. So, thank you.
Beauty
Please join me in dedicating our offering. We dedicate our offering and ourselves to the mission of this congregation to create loving community, inspire spiritual growth, and encourage lives of integrity, joy, and service. Thank you.
Good morning. Buenos días. I'm Charis Tomador, your Connections Coordinator. If you're new to the church and you'd like to learn more, you can come find me or any of the greeters at the welcome table after the service. And to find out what's happening in the life of our community, you can visit our website and check out the Week Ahead, which is our weekly newsletter and has information about upcoming events. Today we have a very full afternoon, so stick with me while I read through all of it. Right when the worship ends, we'll celebrate the spring blessing of our newly planted Three Sisters Garden. Reverend Marcus, joined by members of the Honoring Indigenous Peoples group, will lead a blessing of the garden with readings and music. And today's lunch entree will be inspired by the Three Sisters Garden. While we're having lunch, we'll also have our last assembly of blessing bags for the church year. We invite you to put together a blessing bag and take it with you to hand to someone in need. Then at 2 p.m., we'll have our Roads and Rolls of Comedy, 6 comedy play performances put on by our very new member, Harold. We hope that you'll join us. And it is a fundraiser for music and arts. It's at 2 p.m. And lastly, next Saturday, so we're done with things for today. On Saturday, June 8th, we'll have a worship retreat facilitated by Reverend Marcus, The Art of Worship. And it is a day-long retreat to help build a community of virtual artists. You can RSVP on our website. Now let's rise once more in body or spirit to join our closing song, to sing our closing song.
Beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which from our birth over and around us lies. Source of all, to thee we raise this, our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of ear and eye, for the heart and mind's delight, for the mystic harmony, linking sense to sound and sight. Source of all, to thee we raise this, our hymn of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour of the day and of the night, hill and vale and tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Source of all, to thee we raise this, our hymn of grateful praise. For the joy of human care, sister, brother, parent, child, the kinship we all share, for all gentle thoughts and mild source of all, to thee we raise this our hymn of grateful praise.
Hand, touch a shoulder, join flower to flower, whatever it takes to be connected. You belong from the tips of your funny-shaped toes to the ends of your weird and wispy hair. Let us belong, every weird part of us, that we might extend what we know here out into a world so badly in need of our love. May it be so, and amen.